The year is 1518. The city of Strasbourg is gripped by fear and uncertainty. The long, harsh winter has just ended, yet the suffering of the people is far from over. Famine has taken hold, people are starving, disease is rampant, the streets reek of sickness and death. To add to their woes, religious tensions simmer beneath the surface. The people of Strasbourg are desperate for relief. They are looking for hope in a world that seems determined to crush their spirits. Little do they know, a new terror is about to grip their city, a terror unlike anything they have ever seen before. It will be a terror that doesn't stalk them in the shadows. Instead, this terror will seize them in broad daylight. It will force them to dance. They will dance until their bodies fail. They will dance until they collapse. And for some, they will dance until their very last breath. This is the story of the dancing plague of 1518. The epicenter of this terrifying outbreak was a woman named Frau Troffea. It was a sweltering July day when Frau Troffea emerged from her house and stepped into the street. She began to move, her body swaying rhythmically at first. Her steps were hesitant, as if she was unsure of herself. But as the moments passed, her movements became more frantic, more erratic. Her face contorted in a grimace of exertion. She was no longer in control. Her husband pleaded with her to stop. He begged her to come back inside. He feared she was losing her mind, but his words fell on deaf ears. Frau Troffea couldn't hear him. She was lost in the throes of a force she couldn't understand, a force she couldn't control. She danced for hours, her body twisting and contorting in ways that defied explanation. The sun beat down mercilessly. Still, she danced. Night fell. Yet Frau Troffea continued to dance. She was oblivious to the world around her, consumed by the strange and terrible compulsion that held her captive. Frau Troffea's bizarre behavior drew stares from her neighbors. At first they were amused. They whispered amongst themselves. Some laughed, shaking their heads in disbelief. But as the hours turned into days, amusement gave way to fear. Frau Troffea showed no signs of stopping. She didn't eat, she didn't sleep, she just danced. Her body, ravaged by exhaustion, was nearing its limit. Still, she danced. Then the unthinkable happened. Others began to join her. One by one, people in the crowd around her felt an inexplicable urge to move their feet. They tried to resist. They fought against the strange compulsion, but it was too strong. They were drawn into the vortex of madness that had consumed Frau Troffea. The dancing plague had begun. It would sweep through Strasbourg like a wildfire, leaving a trail of exhaustion, delirium, and death in its wake. The year 1518 dawned cold and unforgiving on Strasbourg. The previous winter had been particularly harsh, gripping the city in a frozen embrace. The river Ill lay frozen solid, a treacherous, shimmering mirror. The city's usual vibrancy was silenced, replaced by eerie stillness. Supplies dwindled, firewood became a luxury, food stores dwindled, hunger became a constant companion. For the poor, winter was a sentence. A sense of foreboding settled over Strasbourg, the worst yet to come. Spring arrived late that year, a hesitant, fragile thing that offered little respite from the hardships of winter. The receding ice revealed a landscape ravaged by winter's fury. Fields lay fallow and barren, seeds lost to the cold. Grain prices soared, placing sustenance out of reach. Bread became a luxury they could ill afford. The air buzzed with discontent, murmurings of empty stomachs. A simmering discontent transcended the crisis of hunger. As the summer of 1518 descended upon Strasbourg, it brought with it a stifling heat that seemed to amplify the city's woes. The narrow streets, usually bustling with merchants and shoppers, lay eerily deserted. The air, thick with humidity, carried the stench of uncollected refuse and human waste. The nights offered little respite. The oppressive heat turned sleep into a restless, sweat-drenched ordeal. Tempers flared easily. Brawls erupted in taverns over spilled ale or imagined insults. The authorities responded with increasing brutality. Public whippings and executions became commonplace. Strasbourg seemed to hold its breath, waiting for the spark that would ignite the inferno. Frau Troffea, a woman of simple means, became an unwitting catalyst for one of history's most baffling phenomena. On a sweltering July day, she stepped out of the shadows and into history. Her body swayed rhythmically to a tune only she could hear. Her movements quickly escalated into a frenzy. Onlookers stopped, captivated by the spectacle. A strange unease crept into their hearts. Frau Troffea's relentless dance became a macabre spectacle, drawing larger and larger crowds. The people of Strasbourg, already on edge, found themselves strangely captivated by her bizarre performance. What began as a solitary display of apparent madness was becoming a shared experience. The authorities, initially dismissive, found themselves increasingly alarmed. What had begun as a solitary act was becoming a collective frenzy. The city council convened emergency meetings, filled with fear and uncertainty. Physicians were summoned to examine Frau Troffea and the growing number of dancers. They prodded and poked, yet their diagnoses were varied. Some prescribed bloodletting and purging, others recommended exorcisms and prayers. But no intervention seemed to have any effect. The dancers continued their relentless movements, driven by an unseen force. Strasbourg held its breath, caught in the grip of a collective madness. In a desperate attempt to contain the burgeoning crisis, the city council made a fateful decision. Reasoning that if the afflicted were compelled to dance, they should be given a designated space to do so, they ordered the construction of a wooden stage in the town square. Musicians were hired to provide a constant rhythm, their drums and pipes adding to the cacophony that now filled the heart of Strasbourg. The theory behind this decision was as flawed as it was desperate. Some believed that by encouraging the dancers to exhaust themselves, they would eventually collapse from exhaustion, allowing the strange affliction to run its course. Others hoped that by providing a focal point for the mania, they could prevent it from spreading further, isolating the afflicted from the rest of the population. However, the opposite proved true. The stage, intended as a means of containment, became an amphitheater of madness. The sight of their fellow citizens dancing themselves to exhaustion, their faces contorted in a mixture of pain and ecstasy, seemed to amplify the strange compulsion, drawing more and more people into the vortex of the dancing plague. What had begun as a local curiosity was rapidly transforming into a mass phenomenon, a terrifying spectacle that would forever be etched into the annals of history as the dancing plague of 1518. As the days turned into weeks and the number of dancers continued to grow, the city of Strasbourg, once a thriving center of commerce and culture, became synonymous with madness and despair. The relentless dancing took a heavy toll on the participants. Deprived of sleep, food, and water, their bodies began to fail. Muscles cramped and seized, bones ached with an unbearable weariness. Sweat poured from their bodies, soaking their clothes and leaving a salty residue on their skin. Still, they danced. Their faces, contorted in a grotesque parody of joy, spoke of a torment that transcended physical pain. Some cried out for help, their voices hoarse whispers lost in the cacophony of the drums and the shuffling of feet. Others laughed hysterically, their laughter as unsettling as the vacant stares of those who had danced themselves beyond the reach of reason. The stench of sweat, urine, and feces permeated the air around the stage, a testament to the dancers' complete loss of bodily control. As days turned into nights and the relentless rhythm continued, the weak began to falter. Some collapsed, their bodies spent, their minds consumed by a delirium induced by exhaustion and dehydration. For some, the respite of unconsciousness was short-lived. They would rise again, their bodies racked with pain, their minds still in the grip of the strange compulsion, and rejoin the macabre dance. But for others, the collapse marked the final curtain. Heart attacks, strokes, and seizures claimed those whose bodies could no longer withstand the relentless strain. Death, once a feared visitor, became a constant companion, stalking the perimeter of the stage, claiming its victims from the ranks of the exhausted and the delirious. Strasbourg, once vibrant, was now a city under siege. The dancing plague transformed streets into a nightmarish landscape. Fear blossomed into panic. Shops shuttered, citizens ventured out nervously. The city's infrastructure buckled, daily tasks fell by the wayside. The city council, paralyzed by indecision, watched as Strasbourg descended into chaos. The dancing plague of 1518 has baffled experts for centuries. Hundreds danced to the brink of death, a chilling testament to human mysteries. Theories abound: mass poisoning, religious fervor, or a collective psychological break. The search for answers delves into history, medicine, and human behavior. The dancing plague continues to beckon us to unravel its secrets. One theory attributes the dancing plague to ergot poisoning from contaminated grain. Ergot, with hallucinogenic properties, could cause convulsions, seizures, and psychosis. Proponents argue ergotism explains the dancers' bizarre behavior. Historical records link ergotism to social unrest and mass hysteria. Could the dancing plague be another tragic chapter of ergot poisoning? The ergot hypothesis doesn't fully explain the dancing plague. Ergotism manifests in short episodes, not weeks-long frenzies. Symptoms like gangrene, common in ergotism, weren't reported in Strasbourg. The theory fails to account for the sheer number of affected people. Mass hysteria emerges as a more compelling explanation. Strasbourg in 1518 was a city on the brink, ripe for psychological breakdown. Frau Troffea's initial dance triggered a collective manifestation of anxiety. The city council's actions likely exacerbated the situation. Mass hysteria spread like wildfire, fueled by fear and uncertainty. Historical accounts of dancing mania align with the mass hysteria theory. Strasbourg's people, weakened by hunger and fear, were ripe for a psychological break. The dance was a desperate attempt to escape their harsh reality. The dancing plague is a testament to the power of the human mind under duress. Desperate, the city fathers turned to St. Vitus for help. A pilgrimage to St. Vitus's shrine was organized for the afflicted. The journey was arduous, a testament to the city's desperation. The pilgrimage was an act of faith, a last-ditch effort for divine intervention. Strasbourg's fate hung in the balance as the procession ascended into the mountains. At St. Vitus's shrine, the afflicted prayed and were bathed in holy water. The relentless dancing began to subside, replaced by profound weariness. One by one, they collapsed into deep, dreamless sleep. Strasbourg slowly emerged from the fog of madness. The city began to breathe again. The stage in the town square stood empty. The dancing plague of 1518 was not an isolated incident. Similar outbreaks of dancing mania occurred throughout history during times of stress. In 1374, St. John's dance swept across Europe. The Black Death's trauma may have played a role in these outbreaks. The dancing plague underscores the vulnerability of the human psyche to external stressors. The dancing plague of 1518 continues to challenge our understanding. Was it ergot poisoning or mass hysteria? The evidence remains inconclusive, leaving us grappling with the mysteries. The event stands as a testament to the limits of our understanding of the human mind. The dancing plague holds up a mirror to our own vulnerabilities. It forces us to confront the fragility of the human mind under stress. The dance was a manifestation of Strasbourg's collective breakdown. The event serves as a cautionary tale about the power of stress and fear. The conditions that led to the dancing plague are familiar today. Fear, uncertainty, and instability can manifest in unexpected ways. Mass psychogenic illnesses highlight the power of social contagion. The dancing plague reminds us of the importance of addressing underlying social and psychological factors. The dancing plague of 1518 stands as a stark and unsettling symbol. It epitomizes the vulnerability of the human psyche when confronted with overwhelming hardship and uncertainty. The image of hundreds of people dancing themselves to exhaustion, driven by an unseen force, transcends the boundaries of time and culture. It serves as a chilling reminder that within the depths of the human spirit lies a capacity for both extraordinary resilience and profound fragility. The plague, though silenced centuries ago, still whispers its secrets. It compels us to acknowledge the profound interconnectedness of the mind and body, the ways in which external stressors can manifest in unexpected and often terrifying physical forms. The dancers of Strasbourg, caught in the throes of a collective delirium, challenge our modern sensibilities, forcing us to confront the shadowy corners of our own psyches, the places where fear and reason dance a delicate and unpredictable waltz. Their story is a testament to the enduring power of belief, the ways in which our perceptions of reality can be shaped and distorted by social contagion, cultural expectations, and the fundamental human need for explanation and meaning. In a world increasingly driven by data and empirical evidence, the dancing plague stands as a stark and unsettling reminder that some mysteries may never be fully unraveled. It is a reminder that the human experience encompasses not only the rational and the quantifiable, but also the irrational, the inexplicable, and the profoundly mysterious. While the dancing plague may forever remain an enigma, its legacy extends far beyond the cobblestone streets of 16th century Strasbourg. It compels us to look beyond the superficial explanations, to delve deeper into the complex interplay of social, psychological, and environmental factors that shape our individual and collective responses to stress and adversity. It encourages us to approach the unknown with both humility and curiosity, to acknowledge the limits of our understanding while remaining open to the possibility of new insights and perspectives. The dancing plague, though born of a time and place far removed from our own, carries within it a timeless message, a message that resonates with chilling relevance in our modern world. It reminds us that the human capacity for both empathy and cruelty, for reason and madness, is an enduring aspect of our shared humanity. It is a reminder to approach those who suffer, whether from physical ailments or the unseen wounds of the soul, with compassion and understanding. It is a call to create a world where individuals and communities are equipped with the tools and resources to navigate the inevitable challenges of the human experience without succumbing to the shadows of fear and despair. The dancing plague of 1518, then, becomes more than just a historical footnote. It becomes a touchstone, a reminder of our shared vulnerability and our shared potential for resilience, a call to action to create a world where the dance of life is one of joy, connection, and collective well-being. If you enjoyed this journey through history, please subscribe to our channel, like this video, and activate the bell button so that we can continue bringing you more fascinating stories from Global Gateway.